5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
It is Thursday night for us, Friday morning for you guys. I know the devotionals have been a little more hanging out. This is going to be another one of those. I'll tell you why. This is probably the busiest week of the year. And I know it seems like it's always like that, but this really truly is for two reasons. You know, just getting a lot of the administrative stuff from last year ready. And we planned a paint night on the same week. So we double whammied ourselves without realizing it.
Whose idea was that?
Yours.
Was it?
I never wanted to set a paint night. You did.
Oh, man.
So, but it is what it is, guys. And that's why, once again, we're at the church once again. And it's late. I don't know what time it is. But
it's after 10.
Yeah, it's after 10. As you guys know, you know, if we do a verse, it ends up turning into 40 minutes. And then I still have to render it and all that. And we're exhausted. But did want to just kind of chop it up with you guys. Chop it up with you guys. You know, we can get a good response for this paint night.
Yeah.
You know, that's been really cool. You know, I even had brother Larry. I was with him in Atwater. He said, yeah, we went and bought paints and everything.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Larry. That really encourages me. Larry was there in Atwater because I didn't have access to paints until I got to Atwater, and he's the brother that embraced me first. You know, as soon as you walk into a facility, first thing they said is, "Where you from? Who you roll with? What car are you in? Mm-hmm. North or South or Blood or Crip or whatever it is you are." You know, and I said I'm a Christian. You know, and they're like, "Oh, hey Larry, one of yours is here." And Larry came and greeted me and embraced me and blessed me. He made me a spread that night. I got there hungry, you know, because I was, you know, coming from Long Beach, you know, so he made a spread for me that night. So, but yeah.
Here's a little fun fact you guys didn't know about me.
What's a fun fact?
I did jail time.
Was confessions night or what?
Yeah. It's funny because they're like, no. When people hear it, they're like, no way, Sharon. I did, but it wasn't big time, guys. Okay, the judge was trying to trying to, you know, be mean.
Mean?
He was, you guys.
My judge was mean to me too. Then
he gave me like 40 days, no good time, you know, nothing. And he was just trying to be mean because it was a fail to appear for no registration because I didn't have my registration on me and I got pulled over and I failed to appear to my court date. And, you know, according to me, I ended up going to my court date late. And by the time I got there, they said that I had this public defender. And I was like, a public defender? What do I need one of those for? You know, I didn't even know what those were. Yeah. And I'm like, but I'm just here to ask for community service. And they're all like, no, you're not getting no community service. They're all like, you're here to be sentenced sometime. And I'm like, I can't be sentenced time. I have kids, you know? Yeah. And they're like, no, sorry, you're gonna be given you're gonna be sentenced and you're gonna be actually given a bail. And I'm like,
wow,
no, I can't. You know, I didn't, guys. I knew nothing about none of this stuff. Okay, like I had never really gotten a ticket. You know, I knew nothing. The only time I ever knew the inside of a police station was because I had made a report for getting beaten up, you know, that was all I knew. I was, you know, on the other end. So for me to get a ticket and to do all of that, I was like, no. And then they told me that the only way I can do it is that I would have to come back and surrender, I guess, that I can go back, and they gave me 30.
Self-surrender.
Yeah, that I would have to do a self-surrender, and I had to come back within 30 days and self-surrender. So guys, I went home and I was crying and bawling my eyes out to my mom and telling her, what am I going to do? They're telling me I have to self-surrender, Mom, and my job and my kids, and here I was, and I was going nuts, you guys. And so I go back within 28 days. I go with my mom and I surrendered. And I remember I ended up signing a power of attorney over to my mom for my kids, and
because you thought you were doing how much time?
They gave me 41 days. Mm-hmm. So here I am, I'm going, and I look back and my mom's bawling her eyes out because I'm doing this big time. For my mom, it felt like forever. Mm-hmm. And, my mom's bawling her eyes out, and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to cry. I'm going to be tough. And I remember that as I was going in, the sheriff was there, and he's like, yeah, he goes, you don't look like you belong here. I'm like, I don't, and you guys, it was a horrible experience. But bottom line, I did a total of 7 days. They couldn't get a hold of the medication that I needed back then, and they had me in the infirmary. And it was ugly, guys. I did it at Twin Towers in LA. But I went home after 7 days. Never again, you guys. Never again. Yeah. After that, I said I'm never going to get a ticket again.
It's been an interesting week for me. One of the things that had me busy was, I don't think I've ever mentioned it, but it was my second interview on Tuesday with, and I know you guys are very familiar with NPR. NPR, a lot of people listen to it, and there's different shows on NPR.
What does NPR stand for, honey?
I have no idea. I don't listen to it. But there's different shows, just like for instance, CBS, ABC, within that network are different shows and different times,
Oh, okay.
So a show that's on NPR, it's a podcast, and what they do is they do these stories of people. I can't remember right now the name of that show. Maybe in another video I'll look up to see what it's called, but they dramatize your life story. Like they hear sound effects and music. And anyways, a guy from Chicago called me up, 6 months ago?
More than 6 months.
Yeah, Atlanta.
It was even before the pandemic.
9 months ago.
Yeah.
No, it was during pandemic. Because
it was right when the pandemic had even started.
So he interviewed me, and then he needed to do a follow-up. So he called me, and we met at the church on Tuesday. That's why we were at the church on Tuesday. He's from Chicago. He's here in the Bay Area, and he came to do part 2. That way they can find me, do the editing, And it's kind of crazy because he went to my case file. He can't believe it's like 100,000 pages.
Yeah. And
I was just as small because I was indicted with 21 different people, so there was a lot of discovery in there, and I was barely mentioned, but. He did a very thorough thing and just kind of asked me a lot of questions about my music and about my life and my lifestyle, and it brings a lot of stuff back, and just sharing with him, and you would never think he'd be interested in this. He's just a regular white dude, And,
this is a little white boy with long hair.
Yeah, you would never think, and he was just fascinated because he says. He was, man, I gotta be honest with you. I'm very, very fascinated with hip hop, and he mentioned some of his favorite groups. You would never think, but he goes, I'm fascinated with that. He was, and I'm really fascinated with the whole gang, this prison gang. He was the ones that supposedly, I had ties to, and he goes, I've studied a lot of gangs and prison gangs. He goes, and this one scares me the most. And he goes, so the fact that I'm a hip hop fan, a rap fan, and this, he was in, you were kind of like in the meshed with both of these things. And he goes, I was fascinated by your story. He goes, and honestly, I was a little heartbroken because it's kind of sad what happened, and so, sharing it with him. And which is a whole different direction than Tony A interviewing me, or Chicano Style TV interviewing me, or even Josh from 23 and 1. Because it's weird how they're going to just dramatize it. And it's like, he interviewed me for 3 hours, and like 3 hours last time. And so I asked him, I'm like, how long is this thing going to be? He was, like 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. You know, so they take, their time. I guess NPR has a lot of people that listen to it. He said that their show has, I think, 2.1 million listeners.
Yeah.
You know, and of course, you guys know, anytime I do an interview, I got to be able to talk about Jesus. Mm-hmm. That's kind of like my one thing. When somebody asks me to interview, that's my one question that I ask. Because I'll talk about the gangs, I'll talk about the music, I'll talk about all that stuff to a point, you know. But I got to be able to share about Jesus, you know, and I had free reign. I don't know what that's going to come down to on a 30-minute editing, but I have no control on how he edits or not. But I know in my heart and my conscience, I shared the gospel, and I shared what Jesus did in my life, you know. And so, but he said it's going to be like another 6 months.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know, I find it really, it's something that me and you were talking about today, that I find it so amazing the way God has completely, just recently, has resurfaced so many things recently from your past. Mm-hmm. It almost seems like he's bridging things from your past so that you can be able to bridge those things back into your life, so that he can be able to bring those people mm-hmm. and bridge them so that you can bring them to his kingdom. Yeah. And it's amazing, because we were talking about that today.
Yeah. Guys, there's
something's
there's been an
stirring.
Influx of books that have been published that mention me. And you know, and just, it's crazy, because I guess in a way, like, for some of you to understand, especially those of you out of state, like, I was fascinated growing up with Italian mafia. Mm-hmm. You know, and most of us were, you know, just growing up watching The Godfather, and then we watch Goodfellas, and then you watch Casino, and you start realizing all of these different factions of Italian mafia families, they cross-reference each other's stories. It's weird, mm-hmm. you know, because you remember even that book, The Last Mafioso? Remember the book I had?
Yeah.
That I ordered? Like, that cross-reference, like, anyways, that'll turn into a long conversation, but it's a trip how now, you know, 19, 20 years later, people that were in the life I was in, or even deeper, way, way deeper, are now writing books and authoring books, and one will be from San Jose, another person from Salinas, another person, but yet their stories, like, they cross-reference.
They're intertwined.
They cross-reference each other, and there's always a part where I am mentioned, you know, and I'm so far from that it's I don't know what to feel. It's just odd, you know, it's a trip. I trip out, to be honest with you. And today, Tuesday, was boom, that NPR, and him bringing and rehashing a lot of those thoughts and feelings. And because he was like, there was deep questions. He's like, hey, solitary confinement, what was that like? And I'm like, well, you know, it was hard. He's no, I want to know what it was really like. Like, he didn't want the shallow answer. Yeah. You know, and I don't know, I've shared with you guys, it's hard for me to talk about, you know, and then I shared with him how a few times just we're watching a movie or watching whatever, I'm good, I'm sitting there drinking my water, and all of a sudden it shows somebody in a solitary cell, and it messes me up, you know. And I was sharing that with this guy, you know, because he's like, what was it like, you know? And I'm like, it was torture. I said, literally, United Nations deemed solitary confinement torture, but yet United States continues to do it, you know. And so that was Tuesday. And then today, Brother Ricardo actually sent me a channel for somebody that this guy started a channel talking about that gang lifestyle. And he specifically did a video on Boyo Loco, which is one of the Darkroom, one of my closest artists I had on my record label, and he was murdered. And I actually did his, I officiated his funeral. Mm-hmm. He was shot in the back in the alley a few years ago now, maybe 5 years ago or so, maybe a little longer. And so.
No, it was. I was here already.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Oh. I was here when you went to go officiate his.
Me and Eddie went.
Yeah, I was here.
Yeah. So I went and anyways, this guy has a new channel, maybe 2 months old, and he did this whole video about this artist, and I mentioned a whole lot. And so it made me search his channel, and I started seeing that prison gang stuff. And again, it's another cross-reference to all of these other authors that are, and other podcasts and other YouTube channels that are, it's all intermingled. And
what I found so interesting when we were talking about that, though, was what I found so interesting is that he talked about Modesto being the hub, being that place, and how you referenced it, how you referenced Modesto, I really like that.
Yeah, well, what I'd said was every one of these podcasts, YouTube, books, they mention Modesto as a hub. And the fact that the Lord had me plant House of Rest I'm not from Modesto, never lived there, nothing. Modesto is not too far from, I grew up in Tracy. Tracy is a small town, about 100,000 people. Modesto has like 300 and something thousand people. And it's about 30 minutes away from Tracy. It's about 30 minutes away from us here in Stockton, because Stockton is a little bigger, maybe another extra 100,000 people than Modesto. But the Lord impressed on my heart to start the church in Modesto. But it's a trip because this story, this thing that I'm telling you that all of these people are talking about, my part of it literally started in Modesto, which brought so much destruction to probably thousands of people, guys. And it's just crazy how the Lord said, this is where it started, this is where I'm going to place you. Because in the same time, how Jesus in the Bible went to the most evil, wicked place, and he says, on this rock I'm going to build my church. And I truly feel like this whole gang culture, this whole thing that I was involved with, it was like a stronghold of it was in Modesto, and God's like, yeah, on this city, I will build my church. And I truly believe that's why God placed us there. Yeah. There's a bigger purpose, and it's just, it just never ceases to blow me away. A lot of this stuff is coming full circle, and so, man, and then, so that guy's channel, and then it went to, how it goes suggested videos, and it went to, I forwarded to Brother Alfonso, the author of God's Fingerprint. And I said, man, check this out. Look at this guy, And then he sent me another channel. And again, he says, these guys mention you, man. And these guys, they're out of the life. They don't even show their face, but they were very, very high up in this thing. And they mentioned me again also, and they talk about details that I have never talked about. So I know that they were in the inner workings and inner circle of this thing. And so it's just, man, this week has, in that old life, I've been bombarded with it since Tuesday. Yeah. And, but to be honest with you, this last one, the one I told you, where they mentioned me, they wish me nothing but good things and a good life. They heard that I was a Christian now. Mm-hmm. And just some of the things that they said was crazy, because it's very detailed, but very encouraging too, because it's a big deal, guys. It's really a big deal to see in what light I am looked at from the streets, and why is that a big deal? Because I live here. I pastor here. I drive around here. We go to the store, we do things very open. And maybe some of you don't understand, but a lot of this lifestyle, especially here in California, it's for life. it's for life, you know. But God has made a way, and God is moving and operating in a way where House of Rest can be a beacon of light to so many people, not only in Modesto, but through this channel. Like every time I go to, like I've said before, to Tony A or to here or to there or whatever, it just brings more people to the channel. And I could care less about the views, but what I do care about is that they hear the gospel of Jesus Christ. You know, Jesus, he's the only one that can break the chains. He's the only one that can set you free. He's the only one that can give you a new start. He's the only one that could take out your heart of hate and rage and violence and give you a heart of flesh.
Amen.
And he puts his spirit within you.
Amen.
You know, and it's just like, man, I didn't come to Jesus because I was afraid of hell. I came to Jesus because I couldn't imagine why, after so many rejections of him, he would still want me. You know, and man, there is nothing sweeter than the name of Jesus. He is, what's the old saying? He's all that in a bag of chips.
He's all that in a bag of potato chips. That's right.
You know, and our channel is always going to exalt Jesus and Jesus alone.
Amen.
I don't exalt House of Rest. Certainly don't exalt myself or ourselves. That stuff is nothing, man. It's all Jesus, you know. And this is the way we operate at a House of Rest. I tell people, I'm like, listen, there's no agenda here. There is no agenda at House of Rest. You know, I said, I'm not even on the payroll. Like there's no agenda. Like, we're just going to preach Jesus, teach Jesus. My job as a pastor is literally to be a greeter and an usher from heaven. Because all I'm going to do is just greet you and introduce you to the King. That's it. Yeah. You know, some people make the role of a preacher way more important than that. We are literally just ushers and greeters to meet the King. That's it. Amen. That's it, you know. And so, along with all that stuff, doing the painting, because, man, you guys know, here's the thing about Sharon. When she does something, she wants it done right. She wants it done right. You know,
you guys, it don't matter if I look like I have raccoon eyes or whatever, because I know I got them, but that's okay. You guys, sometimes I think I'm a little perfectionist or whatever, but you know what? I love things done with excellence. You know, when it comes to doing things unto the Lord, guys, we got to do it to the best of our ability. You know, we may not have all the luxury. We may not have, you know, top of the line, but it doesn't matter. We got to treat it like it's top of the line. Always. You know, it doesn't matter if it's something from the 99-cent store or something from the Dollar Tree. But you know what? Present it. Yeah, Present it like it's the best.
So I know a lot of you are going to be joining us. I pray a lot of you are going to join us for the paint night on Saturday, 5 o'clock California time.
Absolutely.
But at the church, the physical church, we had
24 sign-ups.
24 sign. We had a limit of 24 seats.
That's it.
You know, due to COVID and due to all that, we only have room for 24 seats. We have 24 supplies for 24 people, and each of them paid $20, and that pays for their canvas, their paint, their brushes.
I'm not even gonna paint.
You're not?
No, because I want somebody to be able, babe, I get to sit here and paint if I want. I want somebody to sit and be able to paint, and I'm gonna take pictures.
Yeah, so actually, here's a picture of what it looks like, the setup. So that's the setup, and you know, I set up a camera, obviously the camera for you guys to watch. I set up another camera so it can be shown on the big screen for those that are there. We're going to have beverages and then some little finger foods and stuff for those that are coming, because after we bought all the supplies with everybody paying $20, there was a little left over. We're like, let's get some snacks and some beverages and drinks for people, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
We get them some little cheese and crackers, Alex. Get them some cheese and crackers, some little Martinelli, some little apple, some sparkling apple juice for the kids and stuff. You
Coffee?
know? I'm gonna do some coffee, some Cadillacs.
Yes.
Get some Cadillacs for the adults, because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually put some chairs like if it's like a stage, so that the parents can be sitting on the outer part, so that they can watch. So they can be like watching, like if it's like a stage, and they can watch their kids, because there's going to be families, like parents actually painting with their kids as well, and teenagers and different ages, because it's a family thing, guys.
Yeah.
So I'm really, really excited. I really, really miss doing family stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I miss it a lot.
All right, guys, it ended up getting a little late anyways. We're going to let you guys go. We're going to see you Saturday, hopefully, for paint night. And even if, let's say you don't want to paint, just join in on the live and watch.
Yeah, hang out with us.
At the very least. I'm
going to be looking at comments and reading comments and talking, and I'll probably be walking around and stuff. And I'm sure I'll be going up to the stage and just showing David some of the comments and talking and letting him know who's talking.
I'm going to have the laptop there.
Yeah.
So I will see the comments also. And what I'm going to do is put 2 windows, one for Facebook, one for YouTube.
Awesome.
That way I can kind of see, because the reason I want that is if there's somebody having a problem doing whatever it is they're doing, I can further explain. Because I want you guys, if you're painting, I want you to feel like you can ask a question if I don't want you to feel alone. Like, I'm going to be your instructor. So if there's something you want to ask, I will have the laptop there in real time, and I will be answering anything that pertains to the painting. We're going to see you Sunday for service, and I promise next week's devotionals are going to be normal scriptures. We're going to dive into some Bible scriptures and whatnot. It's just this week, beat us up.
Yeah, you've been doing a lot, guys.
Yeah, but I mean, it's all good, and there's, like I said the other day, there's people right now taking their last breath, wishing they could have another day. So we're gonna take our days and be blessed, and the fact that we have energy to do this stuff, but yeah.
I even set my MRI for Sunday, guys. Who does an MRI on Sunday?
Oh, yeah. So on top of all that, you had a doctor's appointment today?
I had a doctor's appointment. Yeah. I've been working every day, and, my doctor's appointment. And then, then I got so excited because when they called me from the radiologist, she's like, do you just want to do it on Sunday? I'm like, really? I go, Sunday? You'll open up on Sunday? She says, yeah, we'll do it on Sunday if you want. So I'm doing my MRI on Sunday after church. Who does that?
Next Sunday at 1 is a drive-by birthday party for the baby.
For Isabella?
Mm-hmm. No, the baby.
Oh, how come you didn't tell me this?
Because I just saw the reminder right now, before.
And there's a drive-by for someone else.
But that week's is a spiritual journey at 2, so we just do the drive-by and then we go back.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's the granddaughter, the grand little baby.
I have other birthdays too this week, I think. Okay.
All right, guys.
Bye, guys.
God bless you and
love you.
See you paint night.
Hasta luego.
Bye.
Love you guys.